Did you know that newborn babies know maths? Well, it's never too early to start teaching your child maths, and I'm going to tell you how to in this video. I'm Joanna. I used to be a primary school teacher, and now I have a 1.5-year-old toddler. I'm going to cover 5 maths curriculum areas that your child will be learning from nursery to like GCSE and onwards. Young children learn best through play, so when you're teaching your child maths at home, it's really important that we're using the right kind of maths tools and the right maths language to be able to get them to really learn maths concepts. So let's jump into it. So let's talk counting. This is the thing that you're probably going to start off with first as a parent. The number one way to teach counting is through talking things through. In education, it's something that we call maths talk, and it's literally just describing what's happening. So for instance, if you're putting your child's shoes on, you would just say 1 shoe, 2 shoe. Everything that you do, you're counting, you're listing, or you can say things like 1 more. If you're going on a walk, make sure to try and count things like how many ducks can we see? This goes hand in hand with things like nursery rhymes like 5 little ducks went swimming one day. And once you start counting verbally with your child, it really helps to show them physical counting. When you're teaching your child to count, you're probably going to be using loads of things that you find around the house. For instance, you might find things like blocks are really helpful to start counting with. 1 block, 2 blocks. So when they're building towers, you want to be trying to use language like 1 more, 1, 2. Use whatever you have around the house, but when you are ready to find really good maths toys, something like maths cubes are fantastic. Some of the items in this video have been gifted by Learning Resources here, and these kind of cubes are amazing to learn how to count. And then when you're playing with your child, you can ask questions like which has 1 and which has 2. It can be as simple as just counting along while your child builds blocks. 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. And when your child is ready to take the next step, something like a Reckon Rec is an amazing tool to know how to count. This one has got red and white beads, they're different textures, so it's a really good sensory toy as well. A toy like this is really good for being able to show 1, 2. So try and make sure that you're being really clear about labeling the numbers that you're using words like 1 more, 2 more. And when they're a little bit older, you can also start to introduce place value by looking at 1 lot of 5 and 1 lot of 10. Number 2 is volume. This is something that you probably actually do all the time, you don't even realise it. You probably notice that when your child is in the high chair, they like to empty their cup, spill their food. It's actually just volume that they're playing with. When they're in the bath and they're playing with water by filling the cup, emptying it, pouring, can you empty half of it? That is all volume. Notice that what I'm saying here are key words like fill, empty, and if you have 2 cups, you can also introduce fractions by us asking, is it equal? Do we both have the same? Can you pour some in my cup? Is it equal? Another amazing activity, and this is something that I do every day, is when we are making food, I let Harris scoop pasta, scoop rice, scoop porridge into the pot. So he's measuring, he's using volume, and he's helping and learning really good life skills. So when your child's playing with things like water, mud, food, sand, whatever it is, try and get in and describe what they're doing. Number 3 is ordering. This is a really great one to start off with a younger child. When children are younger, they like to order things, so ordering in terms of size from smallest to biggest, but they can also even do things like sorting out colours. And an amazing toy to do this with is this. These are family counters. In here I've got loads of different colours of different family members. I've got mums, dads, brothers, sisters, babies, cats, and I'm not sure about dogs, but that works for our family because we do have a cat. A toy like this is amazing because we can first of all count, but we can also do ordering. So we can try and order and categorise. Okay, these are the daddies, and I think this is a mummy. Can we put all of the mummies and the daddies in a bowl? We can also try and do it with colour as well. So, all green, 1, 2, green. And we can try and sort out all of the green ones. Because they're family characters, it's also really relatable for a child as well. For instance, my child is a toddler and we have a cat, but I'm also pregnant. So even something like this is really helpful because I can talk about daddy, mummy, I can say this is Harris, this is our cat Misha, and very importantly, this is going to be the newborn baby. I can very quickly see that we're going to be a family of 5. Number 4 is adding and subtracting, and this can be done with something like blocks or cubes. These cubes come in a stack of 10, and so you can practice making up 10. You start off with 1. What happens if I add another 1? So it's this kind of language that you really want to be getting in the habit of. Words that you really want to be trying getting in there are things like 1 more, 1 less than. So if I've got 1, I could say, Harris, could you add another 1? And Harris could then add 2, and I can say, oh, you've got 2. And then we can look at how 1 add 1 is 2. Studies show that when an adult is talking through what a child is doing when they're coming to like a maths activity like counting and using cubes, when you're saying things like, oh, what's 1 more, 1 less, they actually pick up mathematical concepts much quicker than if you didn't do that at all, which goes to show actually how simple something like what's 1 more, or mummy's only got 2, can I have another? How simple these words and these questions are, and how low effort these questions are, but actually they can really make a difference in your child's learning. Not only are these cubes really good because they are in stacks of 10, so this is 1 lot of 10, but it's also 10 ones. So you can have 10 little cubes of 1. This is really helpful for when we're doing something like subtracting, because if I know that we've got 10 and I take 1 away, well then we can count how many do we have left. And this can also be done on something like the Reckon Rec, where if we've got 10 and we can take 1 away, how many do we have left? So adding and subtracting can be done really well on a Reckon Rec as well. And also, very helpfully, the Reckon Rec comes with instructions on how to use it, so you won't be short of ideas. And the 5th curriculum area is shape. Now shape is something that you can talk about all of the time, and actually it can be really fun, it can be really cheap. It can literally be something as simple as finding a paper plate and saying, this is a circle. I know it's a circle because it doesn't have any sides. Can you find some circles? So you can then go on like a shape hunt in the house. Exactly the same with a rectangle. This has got 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Can we find a shape that looks like this in the house? And they're also fun because then you can get really creative. You can do sticking and cutting. So if you had like a piece of paper and you had loads of triangles, for instance, you could then stick on the triangles on the paper and try and make loads of different shapes out of those triangles. And if you notice, when I was looking at those shapes there, I was describing. So I was describing what the shape looks like. It's got 2 long sides and 2 short sides. This is the vocabulary that you want to be using, because now we're talking about properties of shape. This is really helpful when they're getting into primary school, and they'll quickly be able to learn about 3D shape as well. Even like the cubes. I mean, that's a 3D square, a cube. These sorts of toys can be used from pretty young, and they can actually go up way into like later primary school era. What's super important when you've got a young child is something called number sense. Number sense is basically the ability to just know, particularly visually, what a number looks like. Something like a Reckon Rec is amazing for number sense, because I can see, because it's a group of red counters here, this is a group of 5. So when your child is getting into like reception in year 1, they should have a really good grip on number sense to be able to use their 5 and 10s frames to just know what numbers look like. And this starts really early, just from counting. So if you have something like cubes or blocks or something like a Reckon Rec, this visually shows your child what a number looks like. I'm a firm believer that if your child can get a good number sense when they're young, maths should become quite natural and quite easy to them. It all is down to confidence, and confidence comes from you. And if you can have a really positive and confident attitude towards maths, your child will become confident and they will just feel like they can do it. And if you can teach maths through play on an everyday level, your child will go into school being really confident with maths, and it will also help you as a parent when you come to be helping with their homework. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want any more tips and tricks, please do let me know in the comments. Please do like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one.